Today we will learn about factoring. So factoring is a process of writing a polynomial as the product of its factors. So we have multiple strategies and we will go through them one by one. So the first one is factoring out the greatest common factor. So let's factor the following polynomial using the GCF method. Well, the greatest common factor of these two monomials is 3. So we have 3 times 2x minus 1. So what about 4y cubed minus 8y squared? Well, the GCF is 4y squared. So we have 4y squared times y minus 2. So what about 3x times x plus y plus 4 times x plus y? Now the GCF is x plus y. So this factors to 3x plus 4 times x plus y. So the second method is factoring by grouping. So here we group terms with common factors and apply the GCF method. So let's see it in action. So x squared plus 3x plus xy plus 3y. So we can factor out the GCF of the first two terms and the GCF of the last two terms. And the GCF of the first two terms is x. So we have x times x plus 3. And the GCF of the last two terms is y. So plus y times x plus 3. Now the GCF of these two terms is x plus 3. So this factors to x plus y times x plus 3. So we can see that, when we try to factor polynomials, and one sign that factoring is a way to solve it is when we apply it the first time, we should give us an expression that we can apply the factoring method again. So that's one sign that factoring by grouping is an appropriate strategy. So let's see another example. 2y plus x minus 6y squared minus 3xy. So we can apply the commutative property of addition and move minus 6y squared to the left of x. And we have 2y minus 6y squared plus x minus 3xy. Now we take the GCF of the first two and the GCF of the last two. So the GCF of the first two is 2y. So we have 2y times 1 minus 3y plus the GCF of the last two is x. So we have plus x 1 minus 3y. So as we can see, once the first time we apply the grouping method, we have an expression which allows us to apply the grouping method again. So that's one sign that this strategy can factor out this polynomial. So this factors to 2y plus x times 1 minus 3y. And the third strategy is factoring the difference of two squares. And let's remind ourselves what x squared minus y squared is. So the difference of two terms is the product of their sum with their difference. So x squared minus y squared is x plus y times x minus y. So let's see how we can use this to factor out polynomials. So 81y squared minus 64. So we can see that the first monomial, 81y squared, is 9y squared, and 64 is 8 squared. So we have 9y whole square minus 8 squared. So this is the difference of two squares. So we can write it as the product of their sum and their difference. So we have 9y plus 8 times 9y minus 8. So what about x plus y the whole square minus 36? Well, the first binomial is already a square, but the second one, the second monomial is also a square, which is 6 square. So we can write this as x plus y the whole square minus 6 square. Now we can write it as the product of their sum and their difference. So we have x plus y plus 6 times x plus y minus 6. So let's see another example. What about 50z squared minus 80? So we know that there is no integer that squares to 50, and the same for 80. So one thing we can do is we can factor out 2, and we get 2 times 25z squared minus 9. So now we can find the two integers which square to 25 and 9. So this is equal to 2 times 5z the whole square minus 3 squared. So the term inside the parenthesis is the difference of two squares. So we write it as the product of their sum and their difference. So this is 2 times 5z plus 3 times 5z minus 3. So let's take another example. What about this one? 16x to the power 4 minus 1. Well, 16x to the power 4 is 4x square, and 1 is 1 square. So this is the difference of two squares. So let's write it as the product of their sum and their difference. So we have 4x squared plus 1 times 4x squared minus 1. But 4x squared minus 1 is also a difference of two squares because it can be written as 2x the whole parenthesis square minus 1 square. So let's write the binomial to the right as a product of the sum and difference of the two terms. So we have 4x squared plus 1 times the sum of the two monomials, 2x plus 1, times their difference, 2x minus 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.